Hi, welcome to Rabbit Money again.
Hi. So what are we
So
discussing
what's up?
today? The big event, the US elections.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. So let's discuss what's happening. What do you think? Early voting saying.
Early voting is kind of evenly split.
Hmm.
Although a couple of hours ago saw this on NBC website that Democrats have slightly turned out in bigger numbers for early voting, registered Democrats, that is.
Right. Right.
So it's 41% to 39%. So the rest of the
Right.
population is not registered as Democrats or Republicans.
Right. So what are swing states saying? I mean, I think if I look at some of the New York Post that says, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Arizona, Trump is slightly leading.
Right,
Georgia, again, Trump, you know, Michigan,
right.
again, the race is tight, but Trump still has a very light edge. Nevada,
Well,
again,
Recent,
it, it's
go
it's
on,
saying
please go.
it's saying Trump. I mean, I'm just talking about the New York Post.
Right.
North Carolina, again, the margins are very minimal. Pennsylvania, again, Trump is leading. Wisconsin as well, slight advantage, but these margins are within the polling error.
Right,
So we
absolutely.
couldn't say much, yeah.
Right. So here's the poll of polls, which I was looking at from CNN just again an hour or two ago. And according to a poll of polls, Trump is leading Arizona, but Harris is leading Michigan.
Mhm.
All right. And Harris, surprisingly, is leading Iowa, which was supposed to be Republican, which was not even supposed to be a swing state. Right. And it comes down to Pennsylvania. Nevada, there's no poll of polls. But no matter who wins Nevada, it's not going to clinch it for anyone.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the clincher's going to be Pennsylvania, and that's tied.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Because see,
and
the
and that
Pennsylvania is about 19 electoral votes there.
right,
Yeah,
yeah, and
you're right. Yeah,
it's a kind of crazy system. Winner takes the whole state. So,
right.
yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
Now imagine if America had 10 parties. Somebody with a 15% vote share could become president. So,
Right. True. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's how it is. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think, whoever wins the election, what would be the economic impact in general?
Well, I don't think it's something that matters that much to the economy or markets. Although Trump is saying the economy is broken and I'm going to fix it,
Right. I mean,
and
yeah.
we all know he's going to make America great again. It's going to be
Right.
huge.
Right.
Anyway, so leaving that, uh, well, there is inflation, and I don't know if Trump has a coherent policy towards that. Right. I mean, Trump is saying I'm gonna increase tariffs on imports.
Hmm.
Right. And I don't know how the hell that's supposed to fix inflation. Right. Uh,
Right. But his,
if the problem is,
flat, yeah, his flat income tax rate could actually, trigger the economy.
well, again, so the problem is,
Co-
right, the problem is not as much of, not enough money in the market as of today, right? The problem is, the real spending power has gone down, post-COVID inflation. Although the annualized inflation numbers have come down, all right, when people compare their living standards to 3 or 4 years ago, uh, they're experiencing something unpleasant,
Right.
right?
Right.
But that said, uh, most tax cuts eventually fund themselves. So, right, how was the timing? I don't know, honestly. Like, it turned out in the UK a couple of years ago. right? Tax cut is a good idea, but the timing turned out to be something that the markets do not appreciate.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the tariffs on imports, I mean, that's another,
I mean, that cannot fix inflation of all
right.
things, right? I mean,
Right.
if anything, that's going to create inflation. So I guess we're going to have to differentiate between problems and solutions here. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
so I
So,
get yeah.
so what do you think the, the markets, the stock market is going to react to the election?
Well, again, so I think we're going to have to take Donald's statements with a pinch of salt, right? I mean, he talks a lot bigger than he acts, and that's a good thing,
Hmm.
right? Because if he were to act as crazy as he talks, then America and the world would have been a
Right.
lot worse,
That's
right?
true. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so coming to that, right? If his tariff ideas are really going to get implemented, it's going to cause huge inflation, and that's going to bump up interest rates, and that's going to screw the economy,
Yeah.
right? Again, I don't think that will happen in a meaningful way, although he might do something for the sake of saying it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, then coming to income tax, so this might actually be a market positive, right?
Hmm.
I mean, where would the surplus money goes? The first stop is the market. So
Right. That's true. That's true.
so I mean, it's going to be good for all asset classes because
Hmm.
uh, the extra money goes into asset purchases, whether it's stocks or bonds or real estate or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
But
again, even that
Kamala had a controlled income tax regime, isn't it? It's more pro middle class, and higher than 400K is going to be an increased tax slab compared to Trump in terms of. So um, yeah, there will be kind of mixed.
again, so is Trump gonna tax everybody at flat 15%, 20%? I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, there could be class wars in the country if that were to happen. So again,
Yeah.
so like we know, Trump talks a lot bigger than he acts. So the
Right.
action might actually be a lot more moderate than the
Right.
talk.
Right.
So yeah, so that might be a slight market positive still, because I mean,
Hmm.
tax cut is on his agenda. To what extent, affecting who all, we don't know. But
Right.
uh, I mean, tax cut, surplus money goes to assets. So
Right. Yeah. Right. What about the bond market? How do you see that?
again, so two things, right? If things are going to be inflationary, which are likely to push up interest rates, um, that's going to hurt bond prices, right? But if things are not inflationary, and if any candidate manages to put more money in the hands of the people or in businesses, and that'll move the market positively, right? And if the tax cuts do fund themselves, and if that can be proven on paper at least,
Hmm.
right? And that won't be inflationary,
Right.
and that's good for bonds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you on that. So, what about the dollar index? How do you see that?
Well, this is again a difficult call. I mean, with Kamala, it's more of status quo, right? With Trump,
Right.
again,
Of
Trump is
course.
saying, I'm going to impose tariffs on whoever doesn't use the dollar to
Yeah.
trade, right?
Right.
I mean, nobody has done this yet, so I don't know what the effect is going to be. I mean,
Right.
I have a sample of zero, so
Right. Maybe, indicatively, maybe in the very short term, the dollar index might do well, but I would say on a longer run, it would be more volatile with Trump's policies.
but again, so he may not do it. So
Yeah, I mean, assuming that if it's done. you know,
No, look at the last term, right? Uh,
right.
he said, "I'm gonna build a wall. It's gonna be the biggest wall in America. I built a lot of walls."
All right, of course. Yeah,
And
that's true. Yeah,
yeah, so
right, right. Absolutely. So,
so I mean, so he spoke a lot more radical than he acted, and that's a good thing. So
mm, absolutely. I mean, thank God he didn't build the wall. Anyway,
right,
so how would you look at inflation and interest rates? I mean,
yeah, like inflation we've discussed, right? And interest rates
it
will
might be
follow
on the
inflation.
right, right.
I mean, it might be. We don't know. Again, so
So,
if
yeah,
statement, I mean, if Trump wins and if Trump goes by his statements and the statements become actions, so that's a lot of
right,
ifs.
right,
So
right,
Kamala, it's status quo. So you know,
right, right. So, okay, another interesting question. How do you see this is going to impact the cryptocurrency?
right. Well, I mean, we've discussed this in private many times, right? So the
Right.
American
Yeah.
president is incredibly powerful in the world, except in America. So
Mm. Right.
uh, so the domestic policy, monetary, fiscal, anything,
Right. Right.
right? It's not the president's call alone,
Right.
right? I
Right.
mean, president can put political will behind it, but that's about it.
Mm.
The president has to stop there, right? The
Right.
president cannot put a gun to the head of congressmen and force them to vote, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
guess it's a function of the Congress, that is the House of Representatives and the Senate, right?
Right.
And this is not an issue divided by party lines. Right?
Mm.
There are pro-crypto Republicans, there are anti-crypto Democrats, there are pro-crypto Democrats and anti-crypto Republicans,
Right.
right?
Right. I mean,
And
as of
that's
now, I
because
think as of now, the current policies are pretty encouraging for crypto because of the ETFs and already running on that. Uh, I don't, I don't know. I don't see any, major change that would happen in those regulations. But we don't know. Like you said, the policies are not, made by the president. Uh, yeah.
yeah, and this is not an issue that's divisive across party lines, right? Uh,
Right.
unlike abortion or any
Mm.
of those things, this is not
Right. Right.
something where Republicans are clearly on one side and Democrats are clearly on the other side. It's not.
Right.
So, but on balance, I guess, Republicans would prefer a lighter touch regulation,
Mm.
uh, and Democrats slightly more, but that's about it.
Right. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to another interesting sector, defense. Right.
Hmm.
So without talking defense and the government, it's you know we're not touching the economy itself. So let me.
Well, actually, I mean, to
How
be
do you
honest,
think?
defense is a very small part of the economy.
No, no, but
Right.
it plays a vital role in terms of the perception. Globally, U.S. is
Yeah,
the largest
it it
in terms of
it plays a vital role in headlines.
right.
So
Of course, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And if you
that
look at
I mean, but
the recent wars and escalations, outside U.S. of course, and
right,
looking at the defense area going, growing more than 50% in the last 1 year. Um,
right.
Not a bad sector to be in, isn't it? So anyway, so how do you think so? It's going to. I don't think. For me, I think either party. I don't think so. There would be any much change in the defense spending or policies per se.
Well, I would say this. I mean, this is one of the unfortunate realities of our time. The blood money, as we've discussed earlier,
Right.
right?
Right.
These malfunctioning corporations called defense companies exist because of the other malfunctioning corporation called the U.S. government or any government, for that matter, right?
Yeah.
And it's free money, gifting weapons to
Mm.
allies and paying the bill for that so that defense companies can make a buck, right? I
Right.
mean, there's very few sectors apart from kids products where the consumer and the payer are very different. So, uh, right?
Right.
But I think it's time to get off of your longs if you have long bets on defense. And here's the deal. Here's the reason why, right? Trump, as mentioned, has been categorical in saying that I'm in a hurry to end the wars.
Mm.
Right? Again, saying and doing are different things, but at least saying is talking about peace is better than not talking about it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. So that's a good thing.
Right.
In this case, if he does what he says, it's very good.
Right. And even if he
Yeah.
even if he does 10% of what he says,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. Agreed. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And Kamala, I don't think she is as tightly married to Israel or Ukraine as Jay Biden.
Hmm.
Or G Biden. Sorry. No, I confuse it for genocide. Jay Biden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, at least would continue the way it is today because that's actually
No,
I
that's
don't see that's going to change a lot. Yeah. Um, so let's move on to another sector, oil.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So what do you think, so?
So as we know, Trump is kind of pro oil,
Oh, yeah. True. Yeah.
and Kamala used to be very anti-oil and pro green energy. But I think she's made accommodations in the last 4 years of her vice presidential terms. So, but yeah, so I think on balance, Trump good for oil, Kamala better for EVs. But Musk writing a million dollar check for Trump every day. I don't know how to explain that.
Uh, yeah. Uh, that's, uh, that's something different.
Pol- pol-
It's a contradictory. Um,
Politics can be crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Of course.
Mm.
And what about the big tech? That's very important. The top three.
I guess no difference. However, I mean, if the immigration regime becomes tougher,
Yeah.
I mean, which is not to say it's easy in any way, but if it becomes tougher, that might hurt the immigration. That might hurt the big tech.
Right. No, that's a very
But
valid point.
again,
Yeah. I was.
but again, big tech can move. I mean, they can keep the listing on Nasdaq and move to Ireland or Canada, or uh, you know,
Right.
that's
Right.
possible.
And of course, the immigration policy will impact not only the tech sector, the other sectors as well, because you know the labor is one of the important things. The U.S. economy. Yeah, the immigrants do play a vital role. So yeah, tech
It it
companies may still I would say lesser impact compared to the other sectors.
well, I think it will impact the food sector and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pet sector because
Right.
of the food demands of immigrants.
Right. Right. I know. Especially the cats, isn't it, Eddie?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So uh, okay, that's wonderful. Now, what do you think? What strategies that should the traders or investors, do during this time?
Well, one of the things I realized, well, I mean, there are a couple of simple trades that you can do. You can short the wicks through the futures or the XX,
Right.
right? Or a SPXY, one of these ETFs or futures. But that said, I mean, you can probably make a 10% return on your capital.
Mm.
And again, VIX is volatile.
Mm.
So you could lose 10%, 5%, 20%, whatever. That's possible too.
Right.
But on balance, if we just look at the increase in volatility because people buying options before elections, it looks like there's a 10%, 10 to 15% money to be made
Right. Right.
by
Right.
shorting the VIX. But that's the expectation, right?
Mm.
Sorry, cut
Yeah.
ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಿದು.
Right. So,
But there could be let's say the market crashes for whatever reason, the S&P crashes. Let's assume, right? I mean, I'm not saying it will. If it does,
mm,
right, that's going to spike up the VIX because that's what happens during market crashes. So
right.
that could play against the strategy.
Right. Okay. So, what will be your hedging strategy?
Well, I mean, there's nothing that needs to be hedged because of the elections. I
Mm.
don't think so. I mean, I look at it as a mind opportunity for greed and
Right.
hardly any opportunity for fear.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's nicely put. Right.
So this can be done. Then again, you can sell options, you can sell straddles, triangles, and stuff on
Correct. Yeah.
S&P, Dow
That
Jones,
was about
whatever.
to come from there. Yeah. Straddling would be a
That
good option. Straddle. Yeah.
and if you want to protect against the black swans again from a big rise or a big fall for whatever reason, right?
Mm.
You could look at a calendar spread
Mm.
where you buy the next week or the next this week or this month the options that you're going to sell them, right? And you're going to buy options that'll expire next week or next month or next quarter or whatever. So that's possible.
Right. Okay. Okay then. I think we have covered enough. Um, let's see how it's going to pan out. Let's wait
Right?
and see. Yep.
Yep. All righty. All the best and happy voting. Make America great again.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye bye. See you. Please share, comment, and like our channel. Thank you.